We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include the Sci-Fi Sisters, Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager Tim Russ, and from the Fairly Odd Parents Gary L. Gray.
What up, y'all? It's Gary Gray. Check it out. I need you to do something for me. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for Urban NerdCon. It's going to be lit. Okay. Our heroes, our villains, everyone's con. See y'all there.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories, everyone's con. See you there.
But earmuff, you stay on hard.
All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to a live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, ready for the playoffs. A.D. Drew in the studio. Exactly.
Yeah, back in the studios this week, Brian.
Rare sighting.
Question for you before we get into talking about sports, HBCU sports, other things, HBCU. I've just got one question for you, Brian.
Talk to me.
Are you a nerd? And the reason I'm asking that, everybody's seen the promo we've been running for the last 3 months, and this will be the last sports rap show that we'll run that promo. And I'm just curious, are you a nerd? Because I am. I'm not.
I've been called a lot of things. So I'll take I'll take nerd as a compliment,
Yeah. Urban NerdCon coming up this weekend in Atlanta. I'm going to try to be up there for it. I've got a couple other obligations, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to Atlanta. But it's not my cup of tea. Last time I went, I definitely felt out of place.
You're not into comic, sci-fi, that kind of stuff.
The cosplay, no. They put it like this. I felt so overdressed in normal clothes.
In regular clothes, huh? You felt overdressed.
Yes, I felt so overdressed, bro. I felt like that one guy who walks into your job and he's got the suit on and everybody else is in jeans and a t-shirt and doing what they got to do, and
everybody else is business casual, and this guy shows up in the suit.
And especially, and I'm gonna take it one step further, in the athletic world where you and I work, Brian. Once upon a time, especially like when we were in high school and everything, on game day for basketball, you always saw the coaches in a suit, in a button down, with a tie on, with the hard bottoms on. You could tell how good of a game a coached or the team played by the lack of black scuff marks on the sideline. But when your team played a bad game, you had all the black scuff marks for the hard bottoms that the coach was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, outside of that game, that rival game, or that one special occasion, I can't tell you the last time I've seen a coach in the suit. They'll break out the suit for championship games and rival games and stuff like that. So they looking all spiffy for the interviews and stuff afterwards. But a general conference game, please. A non-conference game, oh, you crazy. They might have on sweats for a non-conference game. At least in the conference game, they'll have a nice polo on with the khakis, maybe, but non-conference games, they might be in full sweat gear.
Yeah. I used
where do we lose this stuff, man?
COVID. The COVID year is where it all started. It started with the NBA. And when the NBA, I think it was the year when they went in the bubble, and the NBA got relaxed with the coaches. I don't know if it ever was a requirement, but coaches in the NBA got relaxed with it and went to almost,
probably because there was no dry cleaners on site.
Look, it could be. The access and the freedom of movement to the dry cleaners may have had a thing to it. But ever since then, it's just been like, we'll wear team issued gear. We want to be comfortable, and it's like, what happened to dressing up? Like I used to always
Pat Riley. What happened to Pat Riley?
Look, I would, when I used to be a head coach and I would dress, I used to tell my guys, this is business. This is a business decision. So yes, before the game, I would be in my polo or whatever else. But guess what I would do? When they went to go get dressed in their uniform, guess what I did? I went to go get dressed in my suit, my tie, and even though I'd sweat,
you got suited and booted.
I suited and booted, exactly. And it's like, hey, I was letting them know, hey, this is business. We're not here to play around like this is summer league. This ain't summer league. Doggone it. This is a regular game. I don't care. We're going to beat these cats by 20. And especially if we're on the road. If we're on the road, my team is dressing up. We're dressing up going on the road because I want my kids to know, hey, this is a business trip.
Tie on the road. My rule was tie on the road, polo at home. That was my rule when I was coaching.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I miss those days. I miss those days, man. And I used to always get compliments from, the teachers and other people. Oh, they were like, oh, we love this. I never seen my son in a certain tie. And I mean, man, we just look good, feel good, play good. That whole thing. You look good walking in the gym, you feel good. God dog it, we're gonna play good tonight. And we know this is a business trip. So
and a couple of times the suit probably saved coaches technical fouls because when they take that jacket off, that's an opportunity to get that frustration. When they slam the jacket.
Yes, that was my sign. When I was 38 about something, when I was 38 hot, the jacket's coming off, and everybody on the sideline knew, Coach Fulford, he's upset. He's upset. Yeah. Coach came out the jacket.
Yeah. But when you slam the jacket up on the chair, once again, they let you get the frustration out without going off on your players or the officials. Now, the only thing that you have is the doggone clipboard, and you know as well as I do, when that clipboard hit the ground at the wrong time.
Hey, beep. I have gone through a share. My buddy who assistant coaches with me, he knows not to keep the clipboard near me because he has seen me bust a couple of clipboards, especially at halftime. Halftime is when it can go, and I'm literally take it like the whole over the knee, like crack, and it's like, oh damn, what are we gonna? I remember.
I hope you use those $5.99 Dick's clipboards then.
Oh, of course.
See, I had a custom clipboard, man.
No.
Yeah,
custom ones are hard to break. Those are hard to break. Exactly. I don't think you're snapping those over your. I don't think you can snap that over.
They can break. Trust me, Brian. They can break.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. But I had the custom one with the team logo on them and all that kind of stuff, man. Yeah. I got them as a gift from a parent, actually.
Yeah.
And I've used them and all. So, The last thing while we're talking about dress codes,
Yeah,
and we don't,
yeah,
we don't
Before I
listen.
get into hellos, we got people checking in, joining in.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give everybody time to get in. But have you noticed on the collegiate level and the high school level, some of the stuff that we wear to ball games now? I mean, I've seen teams walk into a gym or into an arena in slides, man. In slides,
Yeah,
Brian.
we do
When we were on a road trip,
school.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Even when I coached AAU ball, you were not wearing slides
yeah,
around with Coach Drew. You can do all you want to when we in the van, but when we get out that van, you better put some shoes on. When we
yeah.
get off that bus, you better put some shoes on.
Yeah.
And now everybody walks around the slides and the Crocs and all
See,
that
I was
kind of
okay
stuff.
with I was okay with the slides as long as we had on socks. I wasn't gonna have you in slides and no socks. Now that's a Midwest thing. Slides and socks.
That's because it be cold up there, bro.
Yeah. And
But
then when I actually started working for a slide company for a little bit, I would work on getting the customized slides. So now at least it's team gear. So when we wear slides, we're wearing team gear. So I'm okay with that at that point. But the supply chain has been messed up for the last couple of years, and so getting gear is harder at the beginning of the season. I've noticed even with the companies that we deal with. So, but that's this generation, man. This generation, they wear slides. That Crocs have made a comeback, Drew. That I mean, it's crazy, but
and you know what the problem with it, Brian? We got a generation of bad foots. These kids, when they get our age, will have so many lower extremity problems, so many feet problems, ankle problems, knee problems, back problems, because they're walking around with these slides, with these Crocs, with these other things that have no support. You remember when we was babies, Brian? When the baby started to walk, what was the first thing they put them in? The white hard bottom shoes.
Yes.
So that you can learn to walk and learn to walk properly.
Straight.
When the last time
they had a bar? They had the bar. They had the bar in them, so that way you wouldn't walk like this, but you learned how to walk like that.
Yeah. When the last time you saw babies and I ain't talking about not let alone in the old white hard bottom shoes, but in hard bottom shoes, period. The first thing we do when Junior know how to walk is go buy him a pair of Nikes.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
That he gonna outgrow in 2 months.
Put them
and we want. Hey, Brian, you wonder why your basketball players' ankles are weak because they're always walking around in Crocs. You wonder why you have.
Now is that scientific? Is that a scientific fact, Drew? That sounds like an old man statement right there about the. Really, is that a thing about ankles? And I've never read a study about sandals and Crocs or slides affecting.
Think about it, Brian. How many times you just walked? Well, think about it. How many times you just walking down the street and you step on a rock or step a little accidentally and your foot go a little.
I know how to walk.
Now, if I'm an athlete, then that's something that may linger on. Some of these simple problems that we have, and I have no scientific proof on it, but I bet you I can go find it, are probably due to the footwear or lack thereof. Yeah, weak basketball ankles. That's what I said.
I'm right there. I'm right there with show me the proof, Drew. Show me a scientific study.
Last thing with these kids with no socks and the slides and everything else like that. How many of them get little cuts and everything like that? Brian, I have seen some of my players without socks on. And bruh, them the ugliest feet. They wives are going to be hurt when they see their feet.
Lord have mercy.
Yep.
All right. Israel, I'm right there with you.
We're talking about
you know,
you.
if you just
I'm
jumped
sorry.
in, Israel, look, I have no. Drew started us down a path of talking about. I don't know.
We started talking about the nerd con. We went to pulling out a place, and then somehow we wound up on shoot footwear. I don't know, man.
I have no idea. But anyway, Drew trying to give people time to get in. So with the idle banter, good stuff, Drew. Let me say hello to everybody joining us, whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube. You might be watching us on Instagram. We say hello to you. Or if you're watching us on X, on our Twitter feed. Or you could be like Dr. Cavill. You could be watching us from McGregor Park in Houston. The hottest team in the SWAC, the Texas Southern Tigers, are taking on the Southern Jaguars. Of course, the Tigers are leading 8-4. Doc with the update. They are
I hope
on
Texas
a
Southern
9-game
stays on the other side of the bracket from FAMU. That's all I'm gonna say.
They're on a 9-game winning streak, Drew. And if assuming that they win this game, it'll be 10. And following close behind them, closing the gap on our beloved Rattlers in the East, Bethune-Cookman, BCU is on a 7-game winning streak. I was just looking at the standings. FAMU just dropped a game to, Alabama A&M, which is like rare. I don't know how they did that, but a bad day pitching, one day that the bats weren't hitting. But as I said, every dog has his day, and the Bulldogs avoided the season sweep because we swept them 3-0 earlier in the year, and we took the first 2. So, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Bethune-Cookman stays hot. Of course, earlier in the week, another big win for SWAC baseball. They defeated Miami earlier in the week.
That's 3 in a row. That's 3 weeks in a row where
three weeks in a row.
SWAC team has defeated the SEC team.
Yeah.
Now SEC and the ACC are power team.
Yeah. What did we have? We had
week 1, Southern beat LSU.
Southern beat LSU, right?
Week
Then Alabama
2,
State.
Alabama State beat Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
And now for the third week, we had Bethune
taking out Miami.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm calling it. Florida A&M takes on Auburn this upcoming week. I'm calling my shot right there.
I'm glad you are, because I'm not.
I'm calling
and the reason is because the pro shift Florida A&M takes in midweek games. I seriously doubt that Florida A&M.
Well, hey, look, they may not be one of the weekend starters, but I think if the bats show up and maybe if the midweek guys can hold water, who knows?
If they throw a bullpen session, they would have a chance.
Maybe we'll see. Coach's focus is on the SWAC. Well, Florida A&M holds a 1-game lead over Bethune, and if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a series coming up between Bethune and FAMU, or maybe not. I don't know. I think it seems like we would play Bethune twice, but I don't know, man. The SWAC schedule can be a little whack. Yeah, no, actually we don't. We don't play. No. Yeah, we do. Okay. Yeah, no. The Rattlers are at Auburn midweek on Tuesday, and then they travel to Jackson State next weekend. So that'll be interesting to see. I'm going to have to peep over at the Black College Nines poll to see.
Bethune, they've got Bethune the first weekend in May.
Yeah.
In Tallahassee.
Yeah, you might pull up the Black College Nines poll. Where is everybody these days? I know we haven't.
Actually, I don't think I got my ballot last week.
We haven't. Don't ask me about my ballot. I'm almost abstain. Be quiet about that. Yeah. So, good question. I'm probably going to say no to your question, Blue Jacket for Life. I don't think, but I don't know. So stay tuned. I'll tell you that. I'll stay tuned. we'll keep that in the back.
Hey, Blue Jacket for life. How about sending a correspondence to the SIAC office stating that you've been impressed by the coverage of BCSN with the SIAC tournament, and maybe that will assist with the negotiations as we go through and try to see if we can pick up the coverage of the SIAC baseball tournament. You know, I need that. We need that letter of recommendation.
Speaking of other spring sports, speaking of events not broadcast, I will give a congratulations to Alabama State women's tennis for winning the SWAC women's tournament. They beat the defending champs, our FAMU Rattlers, 4-3. It came down to the last match, a 3-setter. Unfortunately for our Lady Rattlers, they ended up losing, I think, 6-2. So Alabama State did win, won the SWAC. Unfortunately, it wasn't televised anywhere. I don't, couldn't see it.
The revolution will not be televised.
No, that tournament wasn't televised. Yeah, I think coming up, there was a rain delay in that. So I think currently on the court, Alabama State men taking on Jackson State's men. So Alabama State looking to get the sweep on the tennis circuit, the men and women's. They got the women's, so they'll look to try to see what they can do on the men's side of things.
Yeah. I've got your baseball rankings whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go ahead with those baseball rankings, Drew. What's it looking like right now on the Black Colors Nines polls?
Small school, large school.
Let's start with the large school, since that's kind of what we were just talking about, SWAC baseball.
Okay, 8 of your top 10 come from the SWAC.
That makes sense.
Okay, there's one former MEAC team in the top 10, and then one CAA team in the top 10. Going down in reverse order, starting with number 10, Grambling State. Number 9, Prairie View A&M. Number 8, Delaware State. Number 7, Alabama State. Number 6, Texas Southern. Number 5, Southern. Number 4, Jackson State. Number 3, North Carolina A&T State. Number 2, Bethune-Cookman. And number 1, your beloved Florida A&M Rattlers, Bryan. And this is the poll through April 14th, which would have been last week's poll.
Couple interesting things. Okay, so you said Texas Southern was where?
Texas Southern was 6.
6.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, here's the ironic thing.
Yeah.
When you go to the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association top 25,
okay,
there's only one team that is being mentioned. They're receiving votes. Excuse me. Let me check that. I'm sorry. There are 2 teams receiving votes. That being Jackson State.
What?
And Bethune-Cookman.
What?
Yes.
So the baseball, let me make sure I recap this so that my ears are hearing this. The baseball writers are voting for Jackson State. Now, Jackson State has a 25-13 overall record. Now, that's the most wins in the SWAC of any school, but they are 9-8 in third place, tied for third place, matter of fact, in the conference. So I'm curious now, this is one, and I got a site that I go to that weeds out the non-Division I wins. I'm curious of that 25. How many of that 25 are non-Division I opponents? I'm curious. And who was the other school?
Bethune-Cookman.
All right. I'm okay with Bethune because Bethune right now, 24-17, 14-4, 1 game behind FAMU, and they have a 7-game winning streak. And they just beat Miami. I'm okay with that one. But again, going back to polls versus rankings, right? Computer rankings. Interesting to see, if I heard you right, in the Black College Nines poll, Southern, who is in third place by 3 games behind Texas Southern in the West, getting more votes than Texas Southern, correct?
That would be correct, Brian.
Okay. Just want to make sure I'm hearing these things right, So, again, I'm Israel. I mean, look, it is what it is. I'm just asking the question, Israel, because I.
Okay, and Brian, to answer your question, against Division I opponents, Jackson State is 21-12.
Okay. 21-12.
So let's do the math.
4 of those wins, 4-1 against non-Division I opponents.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, hey, I heard it. Say what you want, but okay.
Now, and then once you subtract out the SWAC record.
Oh God, you're gonna make me do math here. Let me see. 21 minus 9 is 11.
7. Yes.
So 11 and 5 against D1.
Right. And some of those D1 wins, and I've got their schedule right here in front of me.
Don't go to the strength of schedule. Don't go to the strength of schedule. Israel.
No. I'm just
hear that.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Their non-conference victories include 2 over Tougaloo.
Well, no, wait a minute. Don't go through the non-Division One.
Okay, we'll go through the non-division. Okay. Now remember, they play in the Garherd Classic. Was it a Garherd Classic? What's the one in Houston at the beginning of the season?
That wasn't the Garherd. That was I don't even know what that was. That was like the Minute Maid HBCU Classic hosted by the Astros or something like that.
Right. So they played 3 SWAC opponents in a non-conference setting and won 2 of those.
Mm-hmm.
So continuing on, that's conference. Lost to Mississippi State. Lost to Presbyterian.
This is Drew, Israel. I would have moved off of this.
I'm just going back.
Drew
defeated Butler.
Y'all get on Drew now. This isn't me. Get on Drew for this now, Israel. Y'all JSU get on Drew for this.
I'm trying to help you out with why Jackson State is.
You ain't got to help me out.
Right.
I heard what I heard. That's all I needed to hear. We can move on.
But they defeated Butler. They defeated Memphis. Yeah, those are the 2 big wins, non-conference, Butler and Memphis.
Okay.
It's like, along with of course, they defeated the 3 SWAC opponents in and they've also defeated Grambling in a non-conference matchup.
Right. All right.
They defeated Grambling twice actually in non-conference matchups.
Okay. Congratulations. Okay. I feel like I gotta quickly mention softball since we got into talking about SWAC baseball. Gotta mention.
Hold on. Can we hold that one for the strap to break? Do you want to hit the small schools or come back and hit the small schools later?
We can come back to the small school.
Okay. All right.
But all right. You're trying to keep us on schedule and trying to go to break. If you filibustered so long in the beginning, so you got us off. But anyway, let's go to break. Let's go to break. Let's let Israel get in the chat room and tell me how bad I am and how much of a hater I am. So, and I'm in my feelings because we lost. So there you go. That's
and we still and when we come back, let's get the shout outs out the way because we got a bunch of people in here.
Oh yeah, I thought we did that, but no, I guess we didn't. So
no, we didn't.
All right then. Hang in there. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew here. Want to remind everybody, you heard that promo regarding the Carlos Brown Show. Just in case you missed the Carlos Brown Show on Saturday, you can listen to it on the BCSN Pod Zone. That's the podcast feature. For those of you who still like to do podcasts, you can listen to all of the shows that appear on the Black College Sports Network on the BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen to and download podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google, Apple Podcast. Trying to think if I missed anything. I don't think I did. But yeah, just go search BCSN Pod Zone. And when you go there, make sure to like, subscribe, rate it, review, whatever you can do via the platform that you're using. We greatly appreciate your patronage. And I saw that note in there. Thank you, Blue Jacket, for sending that email. We appreciate you always supporting the show. It means a lot. Okay. Before we move to softball, Drew, go since you caught me in the middle of a pause, so we'll kind of keep with the theme since we're talking baseball right now. Let's go through the small school rankings via blackcollegenines.com. Now, these are going into the week. So
Yes, before the weekend series were played.
Right.
Coming in at number 10, Miles. Number 9, Xavier of Louisiana. Number 8, Wiley. Number 7, Florida Memorial. Number 6, Bluefield State. Number 5, Edward Waters. Number 4, West Virginia State. Number 3, Savannah State. Number 2, Talladega. Number 1, Albany State. And after you make those comments, I will go over the national rankings.
So Albany State is 1, and who's 2 again?
Talladega.
It's going to be now, and that, again, that's a combination of Division II and NAIA, correct?
That would be correct.
All right. Well, it'll be interesting to see, can Albany State do what they weren't able to do last year, which was finish off the season with a SIC championship.
what they haven't been able to do for the last 3-4 years. They've been in the championship game and have lost. No, they didn't even get to the championship game last year.
Yeah, so that's tough.
Yeah, and they will be hosting the SIAC tournament once again this year.
Yeah, it looks like now, was that Albany State Savannah series this weekend that is being mentioned here?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so Albany State took 2 out of 3.
This is the big one.
Yeah, took 2 out of 3 against Savannah State to cement the #1 seed. And I'll tell you what, if you guys haven't been to the SIAC tournament, baseball tournament, it is fun. I mean, it is some good baseball, good fan engagement,
good food.
Good food. Yeah, I mean, I love the sights. I really had a good time broadcasting. I am not going to be. I will be disappointed if we don't get an opportunity to broadcast that tournament, but I really did enjoy broadcasting that tournament last year. So.
And this year, the tournament will be both on the old campus and the new campus, as they have renovated the old field on the east campus.
Okay, last year it was just on the new campus, and then some
in a park. Yeah, yes, it was at a park that's adjacent to a high school last year. So they'll be on the old campus and the new campus this year, the east and the west, for those who are down in the Albany area. So yeah, it was nice. And I'll hold the SIAC softball tournament till we get to the softball portion. Quickly, Brian, going over the national rankings. West Virginia State is the top team ranked nationally, coming in at number 7. Well, we've got 2 teams at the top. In the Atlantic region, West Virginia State is number 7. Also in the Atlantic region, Bluefield State is receiving votes. And those who know Bluefield State, because the rest of their teams are in the CIAA, still compete as an independent when it comes to baseball. So they have to essentially barnstorm in baseball. Albany's, go ahead.
I was going to say, and where is West Virginia State again on the Black College Nines rankings?
They're number 4, but they're number 7, and they're number 7 in
their region,
National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association
region.
So
let me hear now.
Once you pulled the NAIA out, West Virginia State is the third rated NCAA team in the small division poll.
All right, let me hear what's happening in the South, because before I make a statement, I want to hear where people are ranked in that region.
Okay. Our number 1 team, Albany State, is ranked number 7 in the South region.
Okay.
And Savannah State, who is number 3 in the Black College Nines poll, is receiving votes in the South region.
Okay. And so one more time here, give me the top, since you said West Virginia State is 4, Albany State is 1. Who is 2 and 3 in the Black College Nines?
Got top 5 quickly. Edward Waters 5, West Virginia State 4, Savannah State 3, Talladega 2, Albany State 1.
Talladega is the NAIA.
Correct. And I am looking at the top 25 rankings in NAIA. This is the media poll that I'm looking at right now. I'll go to the national poll in just a moment, trying to see if there's a HBCU in the top 25, and there is not in the top 25 of the media poll. And if you give me a second while you talk, I can go to the NAIA poll.
Well, I wonder how much, when I hear or see West Virginia State, because West Virginia State doesn't play in an HBCU conference, or they're not necessarily in the South, a lot of times they can be forgotten about. And so I wonder how much of that is a factor in them being fourth. Now, again, you didn't give me total records or anything like that, but if I'm talking the Baseball Writers Association in the region, essentially, unless you're telling me the South region is better than the Atlantic region, you would imagine that West Virginia State should probably be maybe 2, sitting right behind Albany State. Just just based on national rankings. Now, I mean,
and I'm going to kind of co-side with that, especially when you consider. I've just looked up the NAIA, both the media and the coaches poll in the NAIA, and there are no HBCUs in the top 25 or receiving votes in either.
Right. So, it's funny. You and I are analytics people, and I say that very loosely. Probably you more so than me. But
no, I put numbers together. You look at the numbers I put together.
Yeah, there you go. Perfectly stated. But we use the numbers, I think, when we vote. And I think a lot of times just people look at wins and losses, but all wins and losses aren't the same. Aren't the same. I mean, we all, I'm not going to mention it again, but we mentioned that in the last segment about school A versus school B, non-conference, out at non-division one, so on and so forth. Right.
Let's just take Talladega. Talladega plays in the GCAC. And if you've seen some of the records of the other GCAC teams,
we wouldn't call that a baseball conference.
No, the GCAC is definitely not a baseball conference. They're new to the baseball world. This is only their second, third year as a conference playing baseball.
Okay.
Other teams, they've always been independent.
Okay.
So I believe this may be their second season playing baseball. And then you've got new programs such as Dillard, Oakwood has a new baseball program, both in I believe their second season. However long those two schools have been playing is about as long as GCAC has been playing baseball. Matter of fact, it is 2 years because that's when they expanded. They added Wiley into the conference, which was a traditional NAIA power in baseball. But yeah, so they've chalked up a lot of wins against, for lack of a better word, inferior baseball.
Yeah. All right. All interesting. So, but anyway, I think you did mention that the GCAC baseball tournament is upcoming. Is that?
Yes, I believe that is this weekend.
This weekend.
Give me just a sec. Give me just a second to.
And they're playing in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's where they're playing. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, I'd encourage you guys. The CIAA not playing baseball, right?
No, CIAA and the East Coast Conference, CIAA and the BAC do not play baseball.
That's disappointing. But yeah, it is what it is. All right.
Yes, the tournament looks like it begins on the 24th, which is Wednesday.
All right. Let me jump over to softball. Can we jump to softball for a minute?
Sure.
A big series this weekend in the MEAC. And the only reason I know it was a big series because my Twitter timeline was going bananas with the Morgan State and Howard smack talk. The Morgan State Howard series was happening this weekend. I believe going into the weekend, Howard was in first place going into the weekend. Hold on, I'm gonna double check something here. Yeah. Now I don't know who they played. I don't know if they played today. So going into the weekend, Howard was in first place. Their RPI rating is like probably one of the best among all HBCU softball teams. 171, according to the site that I'm looking at. They have a 27. Well, going into the series, they had a 27-8 record. Morgan State took 2 from them on Saturday. Took 2. Now, there's supposed to be a game today. I haven't seen any updates as to whether they've played today or not. But as a result of those 2 games, Morgan State is now sitting in first place in the MEAC, 15-2 in conference play. 2 games up on Howard, which Morgan State Twitter is uncontrollable. If you know who I'm talking about, if you know who we're talking about, then you can't say some Twitter beefs I just try to stay out of. I just sit back and watch and chuckle. But it's all good, right? Now in second place though in the MEAC is Coppin State. Coppin State sits a game and a half behind Morgan. So you got 2 schools from the Baltimore area in first and second place with Howard in third. So MEAC softball might be kind of interesting. And then in fourth is North Carolina Central. They are 3.5 games back. So the MEAC softball tournament, which will probably be coming up in a couple weeks, should be pretty interesting. Over on the SWAC, or in the SWAC, Florida A&M sits in first place after taking 2 from Valley. They are 16-4 in conference play. They are 2 games up on Jackson State. 2 games up, I believe, with 3 to play. This is the final series coming up this weekend. They do not play each other. I want to preface that. They do not play each other, but I just, Florida A&M, I think, is playing Alabama A&M this weekend, who is 4-16 in conference. So all Florida A&M would really need to do is win 2 games to secure. Actually, probably just need 1 game. No, I said it right. Probably 2. 2 to secure it for sure. To secure the 1 seed in the Eastern Division. Jackson State, they've got a series coming up at home against Alabama State. And Alabama State is in third. So the 2 and 3 in the East could shuffle based on the outcome of that series. Over on the West, the defending champs, the powerhouse that they are, Prairie View A&M, 19-1 in conference play. They are sitting at number 1 in the West. They've already clinched the West. So you want to be on the other side of the bracket, and that's what everybody's fighting for. So Florida A&M's sitting on the other side. So that's how the SWAC softball standings look. I believe the SWAC base softball tournament starts the first weekend in May or right thereafter.
Yeah. And quickly, Brian, going over the top 10 in HBCU softball. This is according to HBCU softball on Twitter, who's been putting a poll out for some years.
Okay.
Coming in number 10, Texas Southern. Number 9, Alabama State. Number 8 is Coppin State. Number 7 is Bethune-Cookman. Number 6, Jackson State. Number 5 is Morgan State. Number 4, Florida A&M. Number 3, Prairie View A&M. Number 2, Tennessee State. Number 1 is Howard. And I've got the Division
Number
2.
Give me 2 and 3 again.
Top 5. 5 is Morgan State. 4 is FAMU, 3 is Prairie View, 2 Tennessee State, number 1 is Howard.
Okay, Tennessee State, interesting too. Let me go look at their RPI rating, because what did I tell you in terms of RPI? What did I say Howard's RPI was? Like 170?
Somewhere up in there. I was
170.
looking for the polls when you was talking
FAMU's
about that.
RPI is 167. Prairie View's RPI 214. Just putting those kind of RPI numbers in perspective. And then let me go look real quick at the Ohio Valley, because that's obviously where Tennessee State plays. And according to the information I have, Tennessee State sits 3rd in the Ohio Valley, 2 games behind first place Eastern Illinois. Oh, they have an RPI of 149. So yeah, okay. They play in a tougher conference too. I mean, there's schools, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including themselves, the top 6 teams all within 154 of the RPI. So yeah, Tennessee State playing in a tougher conference. I could see how they'd be ranked number 2. What'll be interesting is in that HBCU softball ranking, what'll happen now? You know, Howard just lost to Morgan. Morgan was, what'd you say,
5.
3rd?
That was a 1-5. Yeah.
Yeah. How far will Morgan jump? You know, will Tennessee State move up? Tennessee State just swept their weekend series. Winners of they're on a 3-game winning streak. Will Tennessee State become number 1? Pretty interesting stuff. What'd you have for the non-D1?
Number 10, Bowie State. Number 9, Florida Memorial. Number 8, Virginia State. Number 7, Albany State. Number 6, Lane. Number 5, Tuskegee. Number 4, Edward Waters. Number 3, West Virginia State. Shocker at number 2, Fort Valley State. Not known traditionally for their softball. And number 1, probably the quietest kept secret in HBCU softball this year is Stillman.
Whoa, Stillman, huh?
Yes. They're dominating the Southern States Athletic Conference. Not only are they dominating the Southern States Athletic Conference, is a pretty decent conference when it comes to softball. Not as tough of a conference. I think Florida Memorial is in a tougher conference, who is the number 9. But yes, it's a competitive conference. And Florida Memorial is in the Suns Conference, for those who want to know.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Well, shout out to all the softball teams. We'll look at those latest ratings and rankings going into the following weekend. Be kind of interesting to see what kind of shuffle that top 5 takes, you know, and I think if you were to base it on just RPI rating, the RPI rating, you'd have Tennessee State at 1, FAMU at 2, Howard would be 3, and I think Prairie View would be 4. That's how it would be based on RPI. So again, just the difference between ratings, rankings, and the polls. All right.
Yeah. All right. Couple of the championship, Brian, since we are basically going through Championship Central. If I can pull up for some reason, the article is there. We go. Yeah, here we go. Let's give a shout out to Fort Valley State for winning the men's volleyball championship in the SIAC, and I caught a lot of that action this week down in Jacksonville, Florida. I did the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Did not stay for the championship game on Friday, but I was there for the quarters and the semis on Thursday. And I've seen this Fort Valley State. They are in their fourth year since they have started volleyball. They all started together with that grant from USA Volleyball. Fort Valley State. Fort Valley State.
6 schools, right?
Fort Valley State, Morehouse, Edward Waters, Central State, Benedict,
Kentucky State,
and Kentucky State. So they all came in together. 3 years, three different championships.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe Edward Waters won it last year. And I believe Central State may have won the first year that they had volleyball. But anyway, I've watched this Fort Valley team kind of rise because they're geographically between them and Edward Waters, the two teams that are the closest to me geographically where I live. And this Fort Valley team lost, count it, Brian, 1 set in conference all season. One set. So, and it goes on. The SIC title claiming and another big 20 after they were perfect 10-0 in the regular season, trailing 18-6 in the first set. The Wildcats tied the score at 19-19 before server Safarino Duor, Jackson Hicks, and Isaiah Freed dialed kills to surge ahead 23-19. And Chevy Cooper down the final point for a 25-21 final in the first set. Leading 15-14 in set number 2, Hicks lined up an ace, and Cooper followed with a pair of kills to push ahead by 5 and increase the margin until fed down another winner for the final score. After a short intermission, Fort Valley State took a 15-11 lead midway through the third set before Fed pounded a pair of kills and Cooper served up a trio of aces to control at 22-11. Duor started the Wildcat celebration as he paces the final point in the Marauders back row for the 25-15 final. So your scores were 25-21, 25-17, 25-15. Not only does the victory give the team its first title, but Fort Valley State earned the SIAC new NCAA Division I, Division II men's volleyball tournament berth. Yes, they get an automatic this year. So Fort Valley is the first team out of the SIAC to receive an automatic berth. And I believe those came out today. So I will check on those in a moment while you the selection show was at 4:00 today, so I'm going and check. And the national tournament is set to begin April 30th in Long Beach, California.
Okay, and when you find that out, and you'll share that with us after the break. But I'm curious. That's a combination of Division I and Division II. So
yes, Division III has their own tournament.
Right. I was just thinking about future expansion of men's volleyball at the HBCU level. Our good friend Joshua Jackson, the voice of Edward Waters University and SID, let us know that Lemoyne Owen, who's going to be joining, they're going to be joining the conference in men's volleyball. So that'll be that'll put it at 7. And I guess where I was, what my thought was, will, I know beach volleyball for women had started a couple years ago down at Florida Memorial. I don't know if other, schools have picked up on it yet. I know that was a thought there, especially with the Florida schools. I mean, we got 4 Florida schools that really all of them have access to sand and beach. I mean,
y'all don't have a shortage. You don't have a shortage of sand in Florida.
Right. But yeah, you don't have. So I guess where I was going with, the expansion of men's volleyball versus the expansion of women's beach volleyball. Do you think we're getting to a point where, and save this, just a thought here. You can answer this question coming up after the break. Do you think we're moving to a point where you're going to maybe see another conference possibly dip their toe into the men's volleyball or women's beach volleyball sand, so to speak, sometime, I'll say within the next 3 years? So that's the question for you, Drew, and I'll let you answer that coming up after the break. But let's do that. Let's take that break right now. When we come up, we're going to get into talking about some NIL interesting news as well that popped up late or midweek, and it's crazy. It's we touched on it on Wednesday's O&G Strike Zone, but even more has come out and happened since that show, and it's real interesting to kind of think about what could be, what scenarios might happen, and then really think about how this will affect HBCU programs. We'll talk about that coming up on the other side. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, hello, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan Fulford and A.D. Drew here. There you see our Twitter, or I guess our X handles. You can find me at DRB365. You can find Drew at BCSN Drew. Also, I want to encourage you to make sure you follow the Black College Sports Network on Facebook, X, and Instagram at MyBCSN1, the number one. Hello to everyone watching us on X or Instagram. We appreciate you watching. If you get to a computer and you want to be a part of the chat, you can go to at MyJBN online. That's where all of the good people who are in the chat mostly are. There might be there are a few people watching us on the Facebook stream, like David Burns, who says good luck to my Pacers. That's right. Game one's about to tip off here in just a moment. The Pacers about to take out the number 6 or number 3 seeded Bucks. Of course, no Giannis in game 1 or 2.
Hey, Brian, you do realize no road team has won a game in this playoffs thus far.
You know what? That's an ugly trend, Drew. Ugly, ugly trend. I'd say we're the first team to buck that trend. I wish I would.
Was a poor pun intended on that?
Ooh, I see. That just came off the tongue. I didn't even think about that. That was good. That was good. But you see how that just happened, right? Anyway, yeah. What else do we got in here? Okay. The question.
I'll get back to this.
Yeah, coming back
to this volleyball.
To the volleyball, you were gonna mention. I think Josh in there chimed in well. What you got for us? Volleyball.
All right. Yes, Josh did put it in the chat earlier. The Fort Valley will take on UCLA in match 1, and that is set for April 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And that game will be on NCAA.com. And UCLA is the number 1 seed. Fort Valley is the number 8 seed in this tournament. All the matches will be played at a facility called the Pyramid in Long Beach, California. Going through the rest of the bracket. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Karen brings up a little note there that Fort Valley, I think she said they played an exhibition game against UCLA 3 years ago.
I do remember them playing a couple West Coast teams, and they may have beat UCLA.
It'd be interesting to see how far the program has gone from that fledgling year, if it was that inaugural year, right?
Yes. Going over the rest of the bracket, at 4:30, you'll have a 4-5 matchup between UC Irvine and Penn State. At 8 o'clock, you will have Belmont Abbey, the number 7 seed, against the host Long Beach State. And your 10:30 matchup will be Ohio State, who is the number 6, against Grand Canyon, who is the number 3 seed. So if an online school could make some havoc and get to the number 3 seed, I think our HBCUs could do it.
All right. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting. What up, Doc? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for checking in. Doc Holiday. Good to see you, man.
Yes. Last thing on that, should they win on the 30th, round 2 is scheduled for May 2nd. And they would play at 6:30 on NCAA.com. And the championship is scheduled for May 4th, and that will be on ESPN2 at 5 p.m.
Would Fort Valley State beating UCLA be a bigger upset than Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue last year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
And it has nothing to do with the HBCU angle. It is the fact that they're a 3-year-old program going up against, in men's volleyball, one of the blue bloods in men's volleyball.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I want to wish Coach Larry Rather good luck as they make their journey out there. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the Fort Valley State men's volleyball program, Coach Larry Rather will be on Thursday's edition of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. So we will take a little bit of a deeper dive into the men's volleyball program at that point in time. So join us on this Thursday right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Okay, let me go back to the question I asked you before the break, Drew. Again, Josh just let us know that Lemoyne Owen is going to be joining the conference as the 7th SIC men's volleyball team. And I asked you about men's volleyball growing in comparison to women's beach volleyball, and whether you thought there might be any conferences that might dip their toe into expanding, or really any schools, because obviously it helps when you're a part of the conference. So for SIC programs, it would make sense. But, and of course, the initial 6, they received some funding, right, from USA Volleyball.
Correct.
And that helped. But what about further expansion, Drew? Do you think it's something, what's more likely to happen? More teams jump in on the women's beach volleyball thing, or would more teams jump into men's volleyball?
I think men's volleyball, if it's just those two, I think it would be for men's volleyball for the simple fact that you really don't have to get anything but uniforms. Because if you've already got women's volleyball, which I believe all of our schools have volleyball already. So the only thing you have to do is raise the net 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
What I do not know is if the men play with a different ball than the women. That's what I have to find out. And different weight of ball, different level on the ball. I'm not 100% sure of that. If they use the same ball, which I think they do play with a different ball, Brian, because and I think pretty much that's just due to sanctioning. Men's volleyball is still sanctioned by USA Volleyball, whereas the NCAA controls everything with women's volleyball as far as the rules and the governance of it. So that would be the big thing right there. Yes. Thank you, Josh.
Sure. Adding men's volleyball in 2 seasons, 2 years.
Yeah. You can hit the next comment by Josh. He answered my question.
About what? The volleyball? 2
different balls.
Really?
Yes. And it's probably got something to do with the hardness of the ball. And I know the balls look distinctly different. I can tell you that just from yes.
Is one harder than the other?
That I don't know.
Well, wait a minute. Why is the volleyball? See, here we go. I'm about to show my. I'm coming from a place of lack of knowledge here. Volleyball. Why is a volleyball in basketball? Right. We understand that the men and women's basketball in the men's is bigger than the women.
1 inch bigger.
That's primarily because of the hand size, right?
It's 1 inch bigger.
Right. Although there are some women who have. Anyway, but. Why is it big? What's the difference again in volleyball? You may have said this and I zoned out again. What's the difference again?
I know the balls look distinctly different, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the leather, the texture, the leather. I believe they're the same size. They look the same size by the naked eye. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if they're inflated to a different PSI. I don't know what the difference is. I haven't studied it enough. I tell you what, Brian, save that question for Thursday, since Coach Rector coaches both men and women's volleyball for Fort Valley, and he will definitely be able to answer that question. I know the men's game is a lot faster than the women's game. And what do I mean by faster? If the ball goes over the net 3 times in the men's game, you got a long rally. In the women's game, you will see the ball sometimes go over 5, 6 times before somebody's able to get a kill.
Yeah.
So
that's
what it is.
That's the velocity of the spikes.
That. And there's a lot
higher as well on the men's level in the
yes,
net.
Yes, I believe it's 6 inches higher, if I remember correctly.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but also between that and honestly, right now, the games that I've seen, you see a lot more unforced errors in men's volleyball than you do in women's volleyball.
Yeah.
That once again. If somebody gets over 3 serves in a row, and man, they doing their thing back there, because usually about that 3rd, 4th serve is either going into the net or going long.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just a couple of things that I've seen, and I've primarily seen SIAC volleyball, and I've seen the growth of it over these 3 years. And it's exciting though, watching the growth of it and watching, like Ever Waters last year, winning volleyball, and they were competitive. And Central State in this tournament just got on a run and got hot against Ever Waters this year.
Yeah.
So But going back to your original question, with either sport, beach or men's, you usually would not have to add a staff, since you would essentially take your women's staff and give them a couple extra dollars and ask them to coach in the spring. But obviously that would cut into recruiting and everything else that you would normally be doing in the spring with volleyball. But for beach volleyball, you actually have to build a beach or a sand pit.
Sand pit,
and,
right.
And actually maintain it. Nobody wants to play beach volleyball in weeds, because everybody has that park in their city that had a beach volleyball surface where nature took it back over.
Looking sad, like a sand trap, really is what I'm more looking at.
With the grass coming up and everything else in the midst of it. So that would be the other thing. Plus, if you got it outside, where do people go sit at? So you got to either bring in portable bleachers, or there's a lot more capital investment that would have to be made for beach volleyball than there would be for regular volleyball. All you have to do is scholarships and uniforms, pretty much, for regular volleyball. I still think flag football is going to emerge on the women's side before beach volleyball emerges, or any other sport.
All right. I'm gonna hold you to it. We'll see if you're right about that. A couple other coaching notes here to kind of before we mention some of this NIL stuff that we mentioned. Kenny Anderson, you remember Kenny Anderson, don't you, Drew?
Lethal Weapon 3. Talked to him at the tournament last month, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he's been the head coach at Fisk University for 5 years, but it comes to an end. He announced on Friday via a tweet on Saturday morning. He said, quote, "I will enjoy my life, but I will miss everyone at Fisk University. I've been here for 5 years, and I truly love it. My daughter graduated from here. I don't know what else to say. Triple exclamation point." And so his time at Fisk comes to an end. Actually, he was there for 6 seasons. I think obviously one of those years probably was the COVID year that he didn't actually coach. He was 33-79 in 6 seasons, or Fisk, I should say, was 33-79. Now, most impressively, this past season, they went 14-16 overall, 10-8 in the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, which was the best record during the Anderson era. Athletic Director Valencia Jordan says, quote, "We appreciate Anderson's contributions to the Fisk University men's basketball team and wish him well in his future pursuits." She went on to add that we are committed to finding a leader who will build upon the program's foundation and achieve continued success on and off the court. So, yeah, kind of I don't know if it's a good time, bad time to, for a coach, but yeah, it is what it is, Any thoughts there on Kenny Anderson stepping away, Drew?
No, Kenny Anderson, a year or two older than I am. I actually remember him from seeing him play in high school. I think I told the story when they came to St. Louis when he was at Archbishop Malloy and played in the 7-Up shootout, which it was called at that point in time. Definitely remember him from the New Jersey Nets, from Georgia Tech and a few other places. But yeah, Kenny Anderson did a lot for that Fisk program. Number one, if I remember, Fisk was on the verge of closing at one point in time, had cut athletics. So I don't know if Kenny Anderson was the first coach after they had made their turnaround or not. I can't remember quite back that far, but I'm pretty sure he took his lumps and did a lot personally for Fisk, just based on his name and putting that basketball program back on the map. Fisk was an independent, so they essentially were barnstorming in basketball till they joined the GCAC a couple of years ago. So yeah, I think it's a lot of opportunity for growth at Fisk as long as they are committed to basketball. And I just wish Brother Anderson luck.
What? EA just dropped a nugget. I don't even know how to respond to that. Okay. Appreciate that, EA.
That's not the one you're talking about, is it?
No, that's from Emmett Jones.
EA. All right.
Yeah. I don't. The original. I don't. Huh? I'm just gonna say, huh? Okay. For those who don't know, Fisk located in Nashville, Tennessee, right there alongside Tennessee State. Speaking of, but before I speak of Tennessee State, another basketball coaching news, Florida A&M University actually has a coach now. Finally, right? We mentioned this on Wednesday's O&G Strike Zone because that's when the news first broke, maybe a few minutes before we actually went on the air. Patrick Crary II became the 15th men's basketball coach at Florida A&M University. He came from St. Thomas University, which is in Miami Gardens, right down the road from Florida Memorial.
Right down the road, right around the corner.
A Sun Conference rival of them. They actually won the regular season in the Sun Conference. Florida Memorial ended up beating them in the conference tournament. He's had a history in the NAIA. Really, he cut his teeth at Washington Adventist, which before they came over to NAIA, they were part of the USCAA, and actually they won a national championship back in 2014. Then they moved into NAIA. He got them into the NAIA tournament a few years. Also, I think in all 3 years that he was at St. Thomas, they were also in the NAIA tournament. And so I won't be long here because we said a lot on Wednesday, but look, FAMU was needing somebody young, needing somebody who was a grinder, who was used to grinding, who was used to doing a lot with nothing, or I should say very little. I won't say nothing, but very little. And so,
probably got about the same basketball budget.
Probably do. No, you're probably right. And so that's what they got. So I think this is a great hire. What's your take on the hire, Drew?
First of all, before I dive into the hire, that means Florida A&M, for its two major revenue sports, is averaging about 5 to 6 weeks on the hire.
Yeah. You're referring to football and
basketball.
Men's basketball. About a month. Yeah, I'd say it was about a clean month.
At least a month.
Yeah.
But the women's basketball coach was hired in about less than 2 weeks. I know that was a different circumstance. The school was getting ready to start or had started when Coach Pillow left, but that one was done a heck of a lot quicker than these other two hires have done.
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if that's because of the high profile, because those are, two of your high revenue sports or not. Although I don't really consider men's basketball in Florida A&M a revenue sport because no one shows up.
It's a revenue sport, a low generating revenue sport, but it's your second.
You charge an admission price, but you're not making any revenue off of it. We'll just say it like that. But Given that, and I think I was you and I were talking. I know I was talking to a couple other people about this. Obviously, you dip down to the NAIA, and I don't mean that in any disrespect at all when I say dip down, but you went to and got an NAIA coach. Obviously, if you're going to get an NAIA coach, we know who everyone wanted as from the NAIA ranks, that being Chris Wright. Could FAMU really afford Chris Wright, considering that Chris Wright just last year signed a new contract with Langston, and I'm pretty sure that contract has a nice buyout clause. We're talking about FAMU here, where the boosters and alumni actually had to just kick in $20,000 so that the new basketball coach did not have to wait until July 1 to start, so that they could clear the books off from the former basketball coach. And that happens a lot of times at HBCUs. That's why you tend to see hires that take a long time and don't start until the new budget cycle, because they've got to pay out benefits, they've got to pay out vacation, et cetera, et cetera. That person, if they have a contract, that person's contract usually doesn't end until the end of the fiscal season, except for football, which usually ends at about the halfway point during the fiscal cycle. So giving that, some of those big names also that you heard that FAMU probably wanted and probably made phone calls to, or they may have even applied, were really outside the budget. So I think it was a budget hire, to be honest, and that's not a bad thing. But I think this was really a budget hire, and FAMU went and got the best coach that they could for their budget. Just like when you go get a new car. Yeah, I would love to have a Maserati, but a Maserati is not in my budget.
You don't have Maserati money, right?
So, this last time I had to go buy me a Hyundai because that's what was in my budget. Mm. So, and I got the best Hyundai that I could for my budget with the lowest amount of miles, et cetera, on it. I am so glad FAMU did not get for lack of a better word, a retread this time.
Me too.
Yeah. And the most successful coach that FAMU has had this millennium came from the JUCO ranks, everybody.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can find a diamond in the rough. You can find a needle in the haystack, not getting the big name, not getting the one with the Division I experience or even the Division II experience. But that coach, and I'm talking about Coach Gillespie, was successful on his level, just as this coach has been successful on his level.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
I'm buying, Karen, just FYI.
So yeah, we'll look to see what happens, and I think how about this for being a new AD, first time on the job, you have to make into three of your probably 5 biggest sports.
But I believe she's made 5 hires since she's been there. Because didn't she hire bowling and golf also since she's been there?
No, she hadn't hired golf. No, he was already there.
I thought he left and came back. He had came back before she started.
He was there. Well, that's kind of, there's a technicality there. She didn't. I'm not going to say I'm not giving her credit for that. We can't give her credit.
But bowling, we got to give her bowling.
Yeah, I don't know how much you want to give her. Yeah, she gets credit for that. And I'm going to be quiet about that one. But yeah, she gets credit for that one.
It was on her watch.
It's on her watch, and so, but ain't nobody talking about bowling.
She gets the credit. She gets the credit.
As long as they stay out of the news. That one was some egg on the face. But anyway, she's hired 3 of the 5 bigger sports and your highest profile sports, and in the first 18 months on the job. And so, look, football was winning. The other two programs weren't winning. And women's basketball turned around, got into the tournament. Men's basketball. So all the championships and things going on, if those two basketball hires get right, then she's off to a good start.
Yeah. And she was lucky. She inherited some good coaches in the other
very
sports.
good coaches. Very good coaches. Yes, she did.
Tennis, softball, baseball, golf.
Yep.
Did she hire track?
It was right before her. Right before her. So she doesn't necessarily get credit for that because
I just couldn't remember. I know it was around that same time.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and we're talking, that's a technicality because it's probably maybe a week or two before she actually started. So
she probably had her input in. She probably hired them, but couldn't officially sign any paperwork because she wasn't on payroll yet.
Yeah. Well, EA says she's the highest. She's the highest paid in athletics. I don't think she makes more than the football coach. But I mean, look, is your president of the university paid more than his professors and deans? Probably so.
Yeah, but he's not paid more than the football. And other institutions, they're not paid more than the football coach.
Edwin asked a great question from the outside, asking, is there any chance? Yes, there's always a chance, and
There's a chance I'm gonna hit the lottery.
Stop it. I don't know how I want to answer that question. I got to think about that because if I were to take a poll, let's just theoretically say approval rating, right?
She's somewhere between Trump and Biden.
Well, I don't even know where to put that. I would say it's probably a little less than 50. Probably closer towards the 40. I'd say between 40 and 50%. Like if you ask Rattler Nation, what do you think of the job that, VP Sykes is doing? And there are some people who will look at the success of teams, and that will be how they rate her success. Other people will look at fundraising efforts, ability to raise dollars, create new projects, create revenue generating things. That's how other people will look at her success or lack thereof. So I think you have those two things. So I
think that for a lot of alums, and I may be in a minority when I say this, I think the way that, I'm trying to put this the right way, the way that seems like she begs for the alumni to pull her out of the hole at the last minute, instead of coming in with a plan to the alumni, is what's hurting her in her approval rating. The communication, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she's coming in, even though he was only there for a short amount of time, she's coming in behind Courtney Gaucher. I just read that. I just read that. I was trying not to laugh. She's coming in behind Courtney Gaucher, who was beloved by a lot of alumni. He if you ask for approval rate, he had a very high approval rate. Now, his approval rate definitely was higher than hers. He is right now when he left.
Yeah.
So there was things that he did that people did not like, but he got a pass on a lot of things.
He did, except in a few places, and more importantly, where he needed them.
Yeah. But if she was to do everything that he did, we would beat up on her. I don't know if it's because she's a female, or is it because she's a northerner, or I don't know what it is, but there's just the it factor. The it factor is not there right now for the alumni. And whatever it is, I don't know, but it is not there.
There's still, look, I'll never forget that we talked about at the beginning of the football season, how that would sort of be the beginning of where, and I would say that's where the beginning of the divide started. You know, you may go up on prices on a few things and you can explain it and do all the things, but
the tailgating situation burns.
That was the start of
the ticketing situation.
Yeah, that's where the start of it happened. And then there were other things that happened. And again, I think what I don't think people have necessarily liked, and people find little things. People find little things to nitpick about. Like people will nitpick about being in the locker room post game with the football team. And
I got a problem with that as a former coach.
You know, and there are a lot of people who didn't like that. You know,
and it has nothing. And when I say that, it has nothing to do with gender. When I say
and see that, you know, and I guess what the one thing I will say is she is a sports fan. She is a fan of student athletes. And so I think when you are a fan of athletics and a fan of the student athletes, and you want the student athletes to be successful, how that comes across to the outsider is different than what we've had. That's the big thing. It's different than what we've had. And maybe that's really what it is. We've never had that. We've never had somebody as into everything, as involved, so to speak, as she is. And so
there's no problem. That's no problem with her being involved.
But you combine that with the other stuff, then it becomes issues. And it becomes things that
lack
people
of the appearance of lack of organization for how things are being done and conducted.
Yeah. This will be an interesting off season, you know, because I think there's you have an opportunity to sort of be better than what you were in year one, you know, at the start of your first full athletic year.
Yeah.
And so you look for improvement, you know, hopefully the growth and all the things, you know, improve. That's
what I'm going to look to see, Brian?
Yeah.
I'm going to look to see the bottom line. Did FAMU what did FAMU make from the SWAC championship and the Celebration Bowl? Where did that money go? Those are going to be things that I am going to look at when I look and see before I make my judgment on how good she done. She came in as a APR specialist. Did our APR improve with the teams that it needed to improve on while maintaining the teams that were already
supposedly
excelling?
supposedly.
So I mean, those are the things that I am going to look to evaluate on. So yeah, just little things. Did she do what she came to Florida A&M to do? And she don't have to get it done in the first year. I would love to see progress. If we're not making progress, then what's the plan? I need one of those three. Because if you haven't accomplished it,
I think there's still people waiting on a plan.
If you haven't accomplished it, if you're not making progress, or you do not have a plan, you have failed me.
Yeah. All right. Let me mention another new coaching hire, but a different sport entirely. Just a couple days ago, Tennessee State announced the hiring of the first men's hockey head coach at an HBCU. Tennessee State University President Glenda Glover, Director of Athletics Dr. Mickey Allen, welcome Duante Abercrombie as the inaugural head coach of Tennessee State's men's hockey team. He will be the first head coach of a hockey program at a HBCU. Again, for just in case anybody who forgot, back in June of 2023 is when TSU announced their plans to become the first HBCU to offer men's hockey. Hiring Abercrombie really signifies and further solidifies that plan. This is from TSU President Glenda Glover. Duante Abercrombie's appointment as TSU's head coach of hockey is a testament to our dedication to breaking barriers. We recognize the profound significance of bringing hockey to an HBCU and providing our students with unparalleled opportunities that will enrich their college experience. The bold move builds upon the TSU legacy that we had envisioned for the institution as a comprehensive university offering a wide range of academic and extracurricular programs with a continued commitment to excellence.
Good question, Blue Jacket.
What do you say? Who hired the hockey coach since they have
a new boy?
Well, he's silly. Let's see. Some of the background on Abercrombie. Let's see. I'm just kind of reading here briefly. It looks like he was mentored in Washington, D.C. is where he's from. He was mentored by notable Black hockey figures such as Neil Henderson and Graeme Townsend. Henderson was the first Black and third person of color inducted into the United States Hockey Hall of Fame. Townsend was the first Jamaican-born player in the NHL. I'm looking to see, does he have any? I'm not sure where his coaching. Okay, professionally, Abercrombie spent the 22-23 season with the NHL's Toronto Maple Leafs organization as a member of the coaching staff for the Maple Leafs. He was also a part of their AHL affiliate program and their East Coast Hockey League affiliate. So, yeah, I don't know how old he is. Well, in 2020, he was selected as the Athletic, which any of you are familiar with the Athletic. Blue Jacket, you can stop giving me scores. All right, I'm watching the game. I'm looking at this miserable stuff right now. So I don't. You can save the score updates. I know we're down.
Another home team.
Thank you. Another home team, exactly. The Athletic selected Abercrombie for its 40 under 40 hockey list as an individual shaping the game's future. So he was somebody who is looking to make moves. He attended Hampton University, where he competed in track and field until an injury entered his sprinting career. After he left Hampton is when he actually got into hockey, it looks like, on some different levels. So, but anyway, interesting hire. What I'm interested in, Drew, I don't know when now again, do we know when they are scheduled?
I believe they come in at 25 with club hockey, which goes to Evan Moore's. I don't think they'll be in a conference initially because they'll be playing on the club level for a couple of years before they bump up to NCAA hockey. So it's either 25 or 26 when they will move up to when they will begin club hockey. I know what I'm interested to see, Brian, with this hockey program. What is the makeup of the hockey
that's
team?
exactly what I was going to say. Exactly what I was wondering and thinking. Yep.
Especially when you consider this is Tennessee State that we're talking about. And those, I hope I'm not offensive to offend any Tennessee State grads or alums, but I probably am. But we know the ethnic makeup of Tennessee State currently, right now, and how it's been over the last 30 to 40 years. Yes. Very, sometimes they're only HBCU in name, how people feel about them a lot of times. And I'm curious whether it will be targeted, whether they will actually target. And I can't even say African Americans, just people of color, period.
It's a great opportunity for
hockey team
to open that. Right. Will they search out? The question is, will they search out and look to recruit
African Americans first,
right? Or will they go with try to find the best players? And that'll be interesting to see where they stand on that.
Because you may get a lot of Canadian, dark-skinned Canadian, Black Canadians. You may get some of those at Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Or will this look like a lot of, and offense to go there, will this look like a lot of our HBCU baseball and softball teams?
Or as Edwin says, our golf, baseball, and tennis teams.
Yeah, where the minority scholarships all go to those sports, it seems like.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Especially considering the climate at Tennessee State, in Tennessee, new board. Tennessee State, the state of Tennessee is already doing what they can to further whiten Tennessee State. And something, sidebar.
I saw what you just did. You just did something that was kind of
interesting. Can you lose your HBCU designation?
Stop it.
I'm just curious. Keep moving.
Stop it. Don't be so messy. What up, Mr. Campbell? Mr. Campbell drops a good interesting about Tennessee State struggling to get folks to come to football games. How you think it's going to work out?
Move back to Hale Stadium.
Yeah.
Please get out of Nissan.
Thank you, Edwin, for pointing out the one thing I was going to say, Drew, that Tennessee State's board is all alums. So you kind of drop some shade on the board, but
But
now if you want,
that board was put in place for a reason by the government, and this is like I say, this is no disrespect to the former board.
You're implying nefarious reasons, which I don't necessarily. I don't know, Drew. You got to let it play out. You got to let it play out.
An entire board, Brian. An entire board.
An entire board of alums. Yeah.
But no, I've seen, people replace 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, using the Noah's Ark reference, 2 by 2. but I've never seen the whole arc. Just not. I'm not gonna say not without reason, but usually when that happens, you know what the reason is.
Look, I don't know what I don't know if they all have.
You said that, Israel, not me.
I don't know if they all have. I don't know what their political designation is. But anyway.
Hey, it's time to pull out the minks and the fur hats.
All right. I did want to mention. All right, that was all the coaching news. Let me get to this NIL, just transfer portal and NIL stuff here, Drew. And then we can, because I don't want us to be here forever. We're losing right now, and it could be because my attention is focused elsewhere. I need to get in front of the TV before this becomes a 30-point game. Because if it becomes a 30-point game, I'm not watching. I'm going back to watching some movie on Netflix or something. I refuse to watch this if it becomes a 30-point ball game. Like
Brian
all of a
really
sudden,
gonna go watch Tubi, y'all.
Huh?
He really gonna go watch Tubi, everybody.
Would you say Tubi? I don't even know what is on Tubi. I don't even know what the hell is on Tubi. I got Tubi. It's one of the apps on my Roku, but I have no idea what is on Tubi. Can anybody recommend a show on Tubi? What the hell is Tubi?
Anyway. Some of the stuff is a little raunchy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe
and not like it's.
So you've been on Tubi. Is that what you're telling me, Drew? You've been on Tubi. You know what's there.
You remember back when you used to watch the black exploitation movies back in the 70s. That's what Tubi is, the new version of what you would find in a black exploitation movie.
So it's B movies, B movies, exactly. Marvin says low budget movies.
Yes, stuff that you and I will put together.
I'd rather watch a Netflix. Well, at least Netflix is a off-brand, high-budget movie. At least I'd rather go watch that than a Tubi movie.
Yeah, but Tubi reminds me of the old black exploitation movies we used to watch growing up.
All right. We can't let them have this game. We can't let them have game one with Giannis ain't there. This is ridiculous. What the hell? Anyway, earlier this week, the Division I Council approved changes to the transfer rules, stating that student athletes who meet progress towards degree requirements to be immediately eligible at a new school. I'm reading right here from the ncaa.org. So I'm going to kind of skip through some parts of this and just kind of see if I hit the main bullet points. The D1 Council on Wednesday unanimously adopted a package of rules changes to allow transferring student athletes who meet certain academic eligibility requirements to be immediately eligible at their new school, regardless of whether they transferred previously. The council's actions is not final until the meetings conclude Thursday, and I believe they did conclude and they did ratify it. Ratification will be by the Division I Board of Directors later in the month. If ratified, the rules would become effective immediately. Specifically, to be immediately eligible after a transfer, undergrad student athletes would have to have left their previous school while academically eligible and in good standing, not subject to disciplinary suspension or dismissal, and meet progress towards degree requirements at their new school before competing. For grad transfer student athletes to be eligible, they would have to earn a degree from their previous school, leave while academically eligible, and be enrolled as a full-time post-grad student while continuing to satisfy minimum academic standards. One of the main things that I think this was the rule that we talked about, Drew, is that essentially a student could leave in the middle of I can't say in the middle of the season, but he basically could leave from one semester to the next semester and be instantly eligible. And what I've sort of taken from this, Drew, is the sport and the season where it's most applicable is winter season basketball, because that's a sport that you got 2 semesters going on, right? So here's the scenario that could happen. You could have a student athlete at, I'm going to use Florida A&M, in the first semester, right? Go through preseason in October, start the season in November, not be happy about something. Well, when does the semester end? The semester ends when? In December?
Mm-hmm.
Early December? Guess what? He could choose to say, well, I'm getting in the portal. I don't like this situation, coach. I don't like whatever. I'm going to leave in December. He could then enroll at, say, another SWAC school, let's say Bethune-Cookman, and assuming that he gets enrolled in that period of December, could start the new season with the new team by January when they start playing, because he'll be eligible to start the second semester at a new school. You realistically, Drew, could have a kid playing at 2 schools in one season.
Now, Steve said they made a clarification on that. Can't play for another team in the same season. So
okay,
I'm not. I haven't had a chance to research that one way or the other.
I haven't, but I'm glad you pointed that out, because we were under the initial impressions that was what could happen. Yes. Okay. Well,
plus I thought I read, and I haven't read all the way through it. I thought the transfer portal windows were still going to be the same that they had to transfer during the transfer portal window still. So for a sport like basketball that you're talking about, Brian, there is no transfer portal window from December to January. Now, you could, for football, it'd be eligible for spring practice and et cetera, which you already are. But I think you still have to use the transfer portal window in order to make those moves, to declare and everything else. So,
so the transfer portal windows here, and I'm looking at the NCAA.org site here. Give me just a second while I finish this pulling up here.
But I am going to say this, Brian.
For football, okay, let me give you these time windows. For football, it begins December 4th. Well, let's just say this past school year. It basically started on December 4th, which is basically
after the championship games,
right?
The conference championship games,
and it closes January 2nd. That was this school year. Okay. Yeah. For men's basketball, there you go. It doesn't really open until it opened March 18th, closed May 1. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And football is split. They split their days into 2 different sessions. They've got the winter one, and then they've got the one that's open right now for football.
Football spring window is April 16th to April 30th. And so I don't see another basketball window. So I guess my scenario would basically not apply. All right, so it's not going to be as chaotic as initially it sounded, All right. Well, there's that.
Yeah. Well, it's NCAA made their bid a long time ago, and now they get the lion. And these institutions made their bid a long time ago. And basically, what this is going to come down to, Brian, it's going to come down to people the NCAA having to let the players unionize in order to get this thing back up under control and come up with a collective bargaining agreement. Because when you think about it, Brian, back in the day, remember scholarship, when you signed for an institution, it was a 4-year commitment. The institution was committed to you for 4 years.
Was it always?
Yes. It used to be a 4-year commitment, and you were committed to the institution for 4 years. Probably in the 70s. Now you're probably going back to the 70s when I'm talking about this.
Oh, Jesus.
When it changed, but think about it. It changed from a 4-year to 1-year renewables.
1-year renewals, right?
Yes. So now with name, image, likeness, and people getting smarter and getting more into business savvy, ultimately what's going to have to happen is, and I don't know how many people out here work for these kind of places. If you've ever worked for a job and the only way you can work for that job is by joining the union, we're gonna hire you. We're gonna hire you, but we're gonna take X amount of dollars out your check for union dues because now you're part of the union. You have no choice if you're gonna work on this job. And I think that's what's gonna wind up happening over the next I'll say within the next 5 years, you're gonna see players be unionized at the collegiate level. They're gonna have to join whatever collegiate baseball union, collegiate basketball union, collegiate athlete union. I don't know what it is. And they're probably going to tell these players when they come in as freshmen, you're going to have to stay here for 2 years. And for you making sure that you stay at the university for 2 years, we're going to give you A, B, and C.
And I always feel like we ask this question, Drew, but how is it that baseball has been able to, and maybe these are separate issues when we talk
collegiate
about
baseball?
Yeah, how is it like collegiate baseball has been able to hold a student athlete or prevent someone from going pro for 3 years?
Because it is collectively bargained with the baseball
Players Association.
Either they get drafted out of high school. If you go to Division I, you have to stay for 3 years. They cannot draft you for 3 years. The only other route outside of getting drafted out of high school is you can go after JUCO in baseball. Very few times do people take that route, but you are eligible. You are draft eligible after junior college in baseball.
Yeah,
most people want to get their 1 year at a Division I program. So the same reason why no player can go from high school to the NFL, because it is collectively bargained with their union, and until the NBA collectively bargained it with the NBA Players Association, now you got the one and dones. Back in the early 2000s, you could go straight from high school to the NBA, and the NBA did that to save themselves from themselves, because they started picking too many Kwame Browns.
Not Kwame Brown.
Yes. Who was the other high school bust?
Oh, geez. There were so many back in the 90s.
There were so many back then, yes.
Yeah, there were so many in the 90s.
Yeah, and Kevin Garnett started all this mess again. Because you really didn't see anybody after Daryl Dawkins and Moses Malone who went straight from high school to the league until Kevin Garnett, and then followed by Kobe Bryant. And then I think T-Mac didn't go to college. Then it was like after those three, everybody had to have one.
Yeah. Something that has happened though, we talked about, the transfer portal, but I think you also have that combination there of what recent movement by state legislation of NIL. I think over the past couple of days, there have been a couple of states in Virginia, Oklahoma, and Mississippi have signed laws that limit the NCAA's power and really allow, well, now they're going to be giving schools the opportunity to be able to negotiate and work with NIL in a way that they haven't been able to in the past. Right? And I think I'm trying to pull it up here. In Virginia, the governor passed or signed into, this was passed by the House and Senate, signed by the governor. The legislation states that no athletic association, athletic conference, or other organization with authority over intercollegiate athletics shall prevent a school from compensating an athlete for the use of their NIL. So essentially pulling the NCAA's trump card, you know. Now, I don't know if this applies to state schools or is it private schools as well.
You know what this is? You know what this is starting to become, Brian? It's starting to become the weed debate.
The who?
The weed debate.
Yeah.
You know, weed, marijuana is technically still illegal in the United States by the federal government.
Sports gambling as well. Sports gambling in some states, yeah.
Is it? No, I'm talking by the federal government is illegal, but states have passed rules saying you can smoke you can smoke marijuana smaller than this amount. You can grow marijuana smaller than this amount. You can gamble in this state. You can gamble in that state. It's the same. It's the same thing we saying it was with marijuana that we're having with NIL, man.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm personally not. I know people want like the NCAA to have. I've never been in favor of the NCAA sort of having a legislation over or having say over this. You know, if anything, what NCAA should be is overseeing the opportunities to play and compete, the rules of competition, and leave it at that. You know, now the question now, again, here's the thing. When the NCAA makes all this money, they distribute this money to the schools, right?
Mm-hmm. They're supposed to.
At that point, it's up to the schools. The schools are the ones who should be making the decisions about what to do with that money. Now, in the past, they've been prevented from being able to pay student athletes, and I guess maybe that's your issue there. Well, now because of name, image, and likeness, that's no longer an issue, and these legislative laws in those particular states opens it up now, where now the school can do what? They can create NIL funds or work with the collectives and provide opportunities. It's look for old school control. Look, exactly. If Saban left because, hey, old school mentality, they're not a fan of this. You want your traditional views on how college athletics should work. You want to believe it's just about getting an education, and that should be enough. It's not. It's not.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
One of the most richest men in the world proved that you don't need an education to make money if you're an athlete. You can educate yourself without setting foot on a college campus.
Who are you referring to?
LeBron James.
Okay.
And a lot of these kids who look up to LeBron James, he did it. He didn't step on the campus. He surrounded himself with the right people. Now, he educated himself, but he didn't get the formal education like you and I and so many other people on this podcast did. By going to class, books, study sessions, etc., etc. And I'm not saying LeBron is not educated. That is not what I'm saying. He just did not take the traditional route. Now, is LeBron one in a million? Is LeBron the unicorn? Yes, he is. But
you're talking about you're talking about your professional career, though.
Well, what the hell you think these kids are now? They're professional as soon as they come out of high school. Some of them are professional in high school, making more money than you and I make right now, Brian.
I disagree. I disagree with calling them professionals. If you
are making money for your talent, you're a professional. Just like an actor is a professional. A child actor is a professional. If you're making money from your talent and you have to file a 1099, you're a professional.
I disagree with that, but I don't. I think you can earn money and still be a student.
No, you
just
can.
Like every other. Okay, put it like this: is every student working in work study? Are they a professional?
No, that's a job.
Okay, so
that's not what
in college, your job is you're playing whatever sport you're playing.
But
you're not a professional
until the moment I start negotiating NIL deals and how much money I'm going to make for my services, then yes, I am. Because what also makes me professional, I have to have an NIL agent.
You don't have to.
I have to have an account. And speaking of accounting, did you notice the magic?
You don't need it. Hold on. You don't need an NIL agent. That's
lawyer, accountant.
You could have a family lawyer.
But it's the same thing. I have to hire somebody out to oversee my business. And my business is me. Somebody has to oversee that puts me on the professional ranks. But Brian, did you notice something in that ruling? You did not read it. What's the reporting level for having to report the stuff to the NCAA?
$600. $600.
Does anybody know what that magic number is?
I know
why that number was chosen.
I know what that magic number is. Explain it. You know.
That is the 1099 number in which you have to report taxes. If you make over $599 from any single entity in a year, you have to report taxes.
That even includes gambling winnings. That magic number is $600.
Hey.
So,
Hey Brian, I just had a text from somebody who I invited on the show for tonight, and he says he can come on at 8:45 if we want to hang on.
You would ask me that on the air while I'm in the mid. I haven't eaten my dinner. I cooked a nice dinner, and I thought we were close to being out.
I thought we was too. He literally just he was traveling, just got my text, and the person who I talked about earlier just responded.
I would prefer it if we could set it up for next week. I'm not gonna lie, because I liked where we were, and I thought we were getting close to.
That's fine. I just wanted to put that out there to you.
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that. Now I feel bad for not that I don't want our.
Well, it was a last minute request anyway.
Not that I want. I would love to have our planned. I'm not going to mention it. We're not going to mention it. I'd love to have our planned special guest, but I'd also
because he might be watching right now.
Right, exactly. That's why I said I would love to have our guest. I really would, but I would also love to be able to go eat my dinner and watch the second half of this game. Hopefully it's better than the first half.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ryan.
That's all right.
I had
I
had to take the point of special privileges.
Yeah, that's all right. No, it's all good. Yeah, I think we should table this discussion regarding what is a professional. Because you know, I look at the end of the day, here's what's happening, right? At the end of the day, HBCUs are going, and I say HBCU fan bases, alumni, are going to have to start making decisions about what you want to spend your disposable income on, right? Because in one respect, yes, you need our athletic administrators to go out and try to find ways to generate revenue and fundraise without coming to the alumni all the time. But you as alumni know that how you support your university, whether it be through season ticket sales, wink, wink, very important. Some of us don't do that. Whether it be subscribing through pay-per-view that your beloved school produces, wink, wink. Some of us don't do that, but we complain.
I got my opinions on that, but
yeah, I know. And also now it comes to the little fundraising moves. Like, for example, FAMU just had their day of giving, and I think every school has their day of giving, right?
Some type of giving day, yes.
Yeah, and you know what I found sort of exhausting a little bit is when I see 8 videos representing every sport, and you get messages from each of these programs saying, hey, your donation to our program helps us with a batting cage, or your donation helps us raise amount of money so that we can do this for our program or do that. And it
because you follow every sport.
And those are things that you're doing for the sport. And now, guess what you have to do? Now you have to be able to take a little bit of money out of that pot, and you got to put it into a collective, because you want to make sure that the student athletes feel appreciated. And so that way, guess what? When they go to their community service projects, that they can be compensated for it to help them supplement their rent, because our HBCU athletic programs aren't giving them cost of attendance or all these other little extra bonus things, right? So honestly, it's a marketing challenge, Drew, if you think about it.
It would be a marketing challenge if you had people on staff to handle that, which is a whole nother issue because we aren't staffed to handle that type of stuff. We aren't staffed to handle what we're supposed to handle now, in addition to this new challenge.
Right. No longer is it just I don't think you can no longer look at just getting an education and say that's it. It's not. It's not enough now. It's not enough.
Here's the other challenge, Bryan. With these kids bouncing around because of the transfer portal, in 5 to 10 years, Bryan, we're going to say in 10 years, what would our alumni base look like? Because you have had kids who played who gone to 4 schools. Just because you're the last school they went to, are they really going to consider themselves an alumnus of your institution?
And where's the last school? Where'd you get the degree from?
Right.
Which school did you get the degree from?
But that's not what I'm talking about.
But that's what the word alumnus means, though, Drew. Let's
Right.
see. Let's not throw in. Let's
No,
not create
let me
words
finish.
that don't
Let me
have what
finish.
they mean.
Let me finish though. But you know, as all of us, we are proud of our institutions and tend to give back to our institutions based on our experience there over the years and how proud we all want to see our institution grow and do better, whatever institution that you graduated from. And that includes the former athletes that you know that you see, that we see at FAMU, and then everybody else sees at their institution. You know, they rep their institutions all the time. Look, I would just say Andre Dawson, you know, still represents FAMU 40 years later.
Because he graduated from there.
That's a different story.
It's not. It's not.
I don't know if he graduated, but let me get to my point. Are these people going to be just like Andre Dawson lives his name to Florida A&M, gives to Florida A&M, et cetera, et cetera? Are these athletes that we see in now going to do the same thing because they've been to 5 institutions in 4 years? Are they going to be that as proud of whether they graduate or not? Or are they going to be as proud that they played for their university, have that pride that we
depends on if they won a championship while they were there.
The athletes that we went through FAMU with, you know, the championship that I won when I was coaching, are they going to be as proud of it? Just something to think about, Brian. Just something to think about.
I hate that you want me to think about it, but you're throwing that out there, and I still say
see where we're in 5 years.
Education is a must start, then move on. Where you graduate from, that's what you will be remember, short of you winning a championship somewhere. Where you finish is where you will be able to lay your claim to where you graduated from. And yes, there'll be some people. Now, if you got an undergrad at one school and a grad at another school, hey, go ahead. Say you are, you went to 3 schools, got 2 degrees from 2 different schools. Great. There you are. I didn't know that. Put that back up there. Jimmy Mack said to become an alum, you have to completed at least 6 credit hours. Of course, that's a half of a semester, right?
That's a half a semester.
That's part-time.
That's 2 classes.
Student of 1 semester.
That's 2 classes.
2 classes, and left in good standing. Oh, so this is why Common gets called an alum of FAMU then.
Exactly.
Even though he may not, I don't know if he has a degree or not, but I'm just saying.
He didn't get it while we was there. We're just saying
okay. I do. Yes. Okay.
I can't verify that.
Now exactly.
Because I was in classes with him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, look. Okay, we're gonna get into now the debate about what defines an alum and where do you alum from, where you claim, and all right. I guess it is what it is. So, but anyway, you're gonna have multiple player athletes. But again, I was going back to the point of alumni, or maybe just supporters. Let me rephrase it. Let me just say supporters. So if you're a supporter of a university, okay, and if you're a supporter of an athletic team or a program, you've got to decide what you're doing with your dollars. And again, I go back to the good old $100 bill, Drew, and I've used this example many times, and I think this is the most applicable. If I had $100 that I'm giving back to my university every month, right? Which, hey, what a world we would live in. If we all took $100 and gave back to our university every month. Wow. Okay, let me just first say that. What would you break up that $100 towards? I think you would give a portion to, I would hope you would give a portion to NIL. I'd hope you're giving a portion to the foundation, maybe even give another portion towards specific program, you know, and maybe you might even give another portion to the academic school that you went to. But there's value in how you split up that $100. And maybe, you know what, Drew, I would, damn it, I just got a great idea. I've seen some great initiatives, but I think we're gonna have to build on this $100 a month challenge. It's all tax deductible, right?
Supposed to be.
So essentially, what we're talking is,
and the reason I say supposed to be because some of the collectives and foundations, I know they may not have achieved 501c status yet. That's why I say supposed to be.
Hey, Steve, if I'm giving 100, I didn't want that money to go to the dorms. Look,
some of the best experiences in my life came in the dorms, man.
All right, so maybe I give $20. Maybe I give $20.
The dorm probably need more of it than anything.
All right, maybe I give it to the $20. So I'm giving 20 to NIL, 20 to.
You can't give it to Gibbs Hall anymore, Brian.
Yeah, I can't give it to Gibbs Hall, so I get no money from me. But anyway, but no, I really think we ought to come up with some kind of challenge and get alumni to engage. And it doesn't have to be
this sounds like a Wednesday. This sounds like a Wednesday night debate, though.
No. I'm speaking to all. I'm speaking to all HBCU, no matter what school you went to. Now, obviously, everybody's means are a little bit better than others.
See what I mean?
Oh well, see. Yeah, that's okay. Well, that's interesting.
And by definition, some of them probably can't be tax deductible.
Yeah, we had that definition. There's some and actually
it depends on some of them may depend on the state or how you're allocating the funds.
And see, maybe that's some. I'm surprised about that. I remember anyway. That's a tax debate question because I thought initially they were tax deductible, and then I guess recently they changed the tax laws that took that away, took that designation away. But anyway, I would still challenge, create that challenge and say, no matter what your school is, whether it's Clark, whether it's Morehouse, whether it's, Fisk, Tennessee State, FAMU, Howard, Hampton, just imagine if you're $100 and if a significant number of alumni are pledging $100 a month, what that $1,200 a year in various places could do, so yeah. And I get that you're paying for a service for that, and I know there's two parts to that. I know you can pay for a service and pay for contributions as well. I know there's two different NIL styles in those collectives. So,
Brian, just remember the reason why people truly give. It's not for the tax deduction and all that other stuff. People give because they want to feel good about themselves. With the bottom line.
I don't know if is it about ourselves though, Drew?
Yes,
is it about, or should it be about helping someone else?
No, studies show people give because they want to feel good about themselves.
Damn, Drew.
And the fact that they gave to a cause.
That's not a great marketing. You're not marketing it that way, Drew.
No, but it's how you approach it when you build your marketing plan.
I wouldn't market it that way.
Yeah, that's how, Brian. That's from an institutional advancement point. That's the approach a lot of them take. They want people to feel good about themselves for giving that money. Yeah, these are all the benefits that you could get out of it. But ultimately, what can I do to make you feel good for giving me your donation?
That's horrible.
That's That's how a lot of institutionally advanced people do it. Yes.
Yeah, really. I've never been
Yes.
pitched that way. I maybe I would love to see an example.
You don't know you've been pitched that way, but I guarantee you that is part of how they do it. They want you to feel good about yourself. Brian, when you gave money to FAMU last.
Just this weekend, the FAMU 1887. I did two different donation things.
Why? Was it because they needed the money, or you wanted to feel? I mean, we know they need the money, or else they wouldn't be asking for it. But did you want to feel? Did you feel better when you gave that money to them?
No, because I gave that money out of need. I know they needed it. Like I was going to spend it on something dumb or probably eat it or drink it. I didn't need it. I'm giving it because they needed it. Now, maybe that's just the way that maybe that's just me.
And that's an Indiana in you, man.
Yeah. Why would I get? I don't understand. I'm giving somebody. Look, there's only one place that I've given money so that I can feel good about me. There's only one place that I've done that at. And if you know, you know. I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway,
that's a good question, Dr. Gavil. But I think that's the discussion when we get into the business of sport or Tuesday or Thursday.
I don't want
inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
And
the reason I say that, a lot of people don't want their name.
So I should have said anonymous. When I gave my donation, I should have said anonymous. So
I mean,
because
I
didn't say anonymous, that means that I wanted to feel good about myself.
No, I didn't say it. So, there are a lot of people who don't want their names given.
You're right. You can check anonymous.
Yes.
We're under 20. Watch out. We're under 20. Pacers are under 20. Watch out. We're coming for the Bucks in the second half.
Yeah. Brian, let's pick up the show and get out of here so that you can go ahead and go watch your show.
I see that.
Because if we stay on here any longer, I could have sent out that invite.
Exactly. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good stuff today, Drew and everybody out there. Some interesting questions, some interesting topics and debates. Look forward to the upcoming week ahead. Don't forget the rest of this week. On Tuesday, Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. I believe Charles Bishop will be hosting that show. Wednesday night, the O&G Strike Zone, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Myself, Kelvin Rozier, Marcus Green, talking FAMU athletics and more. And then the second episode of the week for Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab will be on Thursday. The Carlos Brown Show will be on Saturday.
You forgot something. I'll be hosting Thursday show.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was official yet, so that's why I didn't.
Yeah, well, that part's official.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know who my co-hosts are gonna be. That's the unofficial part.
I'm unique. Well, I told you I might be available. I should be available. I don't have a. It'll be a sports wrap takeover on Thursday.
Yeah, we got to bring in the third though. We got to bring. All
right, we got to bring in the third. So we'll
can't be the two of us.
The doc said we can't let y'all have Thursday too. Now, come on now.
Yeah. Dr. Kavir gonna fire me after my first day if I do it like that.
Right. You try to.
No, I won't say fire. He'll put me on academic probation.
Academic probation, exactly.
Yeah, he the provost now, so he can do things like that.
Right, the provost of HBCU Sports, as we have now dubbed him. There we go. We love you, Doc. Thank you. Hey, Doc? What was the final score on that TSU game? I'm assuming the TSU hold on to the win, and they have a 10-game winning streak in SWAC baseball. So yeah. All right. Good stuff.
Wait on Doc to get that score, and then we're gonna pick up this show and get out of here.
Yeah, we got to pick up the show and get out of here. Okay.
got the little lag time going.
Okay. Thank you to everybody watching on Instagram Live, watching on Twitter, whether you're watching us on the BCSN Twitter page or you're watching us on one of the retweets. Thank you to everybody watching on Facebook and YouTube. Tennessee State won, not Tennessee State, Texas Southern won 9-4. That's 10 in a row.
You'll get fired before you get on the show with calling them Tennessee State.
Look, I just saw TSU. We've talked so much. We've talked about more TSU, Tennessee State, and Texas Southern than I think we have in the last month or 2 months. I'd say the last year, honestly. So I'm sorry. I saw TSU and instantly went to the last TSU we talked about. So sorry. Sorry about that, Texas Southern baseball. 10-game win streak.
They win 10, you still won't get any respect.
Put some respect on their name in the Black College.
Put some respect on their name.
Put some respect on their name. 10-game winning streak. Best in the SWAC. Put some respect on their name.
And they number what?
6? Come on. They should at least be top 4. Come on now. Voters, get with it. Calling y'all out. Although I won't confirm or deny that I am one of those voters. So anyway.
I voted them higher.
Oh, well, there you go. See? Good. Hey, appreciate everybody for watching the show. Please follow the BCSN. Don't forget, this weekend, if you're in Atlanta, the Urban Nerd Con is in Atlanta. Make sure to pay attention. Big press announcement coming out tomorrow. Jericho Broadcast Networks, MyJBN Online, or MyJBN 1, or if you follow on the Black College Sports Network. Special announcement coming up on Monday regarding the Urban Nerd Con. It is still in Atlanta this weekend, upcoming. So be in the house, be ready for a great weekend. If you enjoy comics, sci-fi, action, stuff like that, it's a great opportunity to bring your family, bring your children out. Look for the announcement on where we will be, and you'll get a chance to really earn or really enjoy, I think, what'll be a good time. The Urban Nerd Con. That's right. Urban Nerd Con again. April 26th to the 28th, right in Atlanta, Georgia. UrbanNerdCon.com, I think, is the website, right?
I told you I'm not a nerd.
Don't quote Drew on that. Exactly.
Don't quote me on that.
Don't quote me on that. All right.
I just click on the link. I don't pay attention to the URL. Also,
again.
Yeah. Jackson, Mississippi, starting Wednesday, GCAC baseball tournament.
Fair enough.
Opens up Wednesday in Jackson.
All right. No more promos, no more talk. It's time to go. Thank you, everybody. Following, watch, like, subscribe, rate, hit the thumbs up or the like button on your way out the door, please. It's much appreciated. Help the algorithm gods, and go find the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen to podcasts, on Amazon Music, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, all those, Spotify, everywhere you listen. Okay, I'm done. Drew, tell the people bye.
Thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night. Travel light, everyone.
But earmuff, you stay on hard.